everybody, and welcome to a brand new mini series here at Coaster Monkey Studios, the roller coaster constructor. We're going to do something different here. Again, a mini series. A lot of you have been asking questions about how I build what I build and what techniques I use. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through a number of different rides in the game, and we're going to build these rides out. And I'm going to walk you through the processes here and how we do that. And we're going to start with the side friction coaster. So many of you don't know much about. If you don't know much about this coaster, this is one of the original forms, or one of the earlier forms of a coaster, and you'd see this a lot at amusement parks in the early 1900s. I could think of a couple of pier parks or beachfront parks that have this type of ride, and essentially, basically, this is a car on a track. There's nothing holding it onto the track. There's nothing keeping it from going off the track. So you got to be very careful with your G-forces here and your intensity, right? So what you're seeing me do here is you're seeing me build this out. Majority of these coasters are not very tall, 50, 60 feet tall, and their drops are very shallow. They're hills, and you'll notice what I do is I'll build out a drop starting at, let's say, 30 feet. It'll drop down to 15, it'll come up to 25. So there's only a 5-foot difference between hills. And the reason why we do this is because this car has nothing keeping it on the track. So if you have a hill that, let's say, I don't know, drops 50 feet and follows into an airtime hill, which didn't exist at this time on this type of a ride, you would end up with a coaster flying off the tracks and exploding and killing a bunch of people, which has happened at a number of parks on these types of coasters in the past. But what you'll see me do here is you'll see me build out a very simple out and back coaster. And again, it's not meant to be extremely exciting, right? The original format, if you're going for realism, it's meant to be a chill coaster, right? You'll see a lot of these as scenic railways, if you will, quote unquote. And these scenic railways usually were built, again, just to get a bird's eye view of kind of what was going on in the area, whether it be at a pier side or a beach side park, or even in a regular amusement park. The majority of these coasters are built, with no thrills in mind, just a very slight dip and a very slight hill going back up. Think very rolling hills, you know what I mean? And that's the whole intention here for this particular ride. So as I build this one out, what we're gonna do is we're not only gonna lay this out slowly, because again, I want you guys to see how my process is, but then I want you to look at the 3 different trains that we can do on here, right? So this train on this car can have upwards of 3 cars per train, okay? As many as 3 cars per train. And each one is going to give a little bit of a different excitement rating, a little bit of a different intensity rating, and we're going to go through all of those. And then we're going to throw on some support work, which majority of these coasters did not have in that day because there really wasn't a lot of G-force. But what we're going to do is we're going to throw some supports up to help increase that excitement rating just a little bit. So here we are. We're going to start with 1 car. And let me just, again, it's a thing that I have to increase the chain speed to the highest speed. Don't ask me why, it's always been a thing. But we're gonna go and we're gonna follow this 1 car. We're gonna watch the miles per hour and kind of how it traverses through each of these different elements that we've created. Now on this coaster, there is no banking on the turns. That's another thing you gotta be careful of, lateral G's, right? So you'll notice as we're traveling here, we go down to 25, but then we come back up to 15 miles per hour, right? So it's a very mellow coaster. It's not meant to be intense. It's not meant to be crazy. Again, this is your quote-unquote scenic railway type ride where you've got a car sitting on tracks with, nothing holding it to that track. So there we go. Around, and again, the speed, if you look at the speed, sorry, there's something on with my iPad I don't know if it's RAM, but it keeps doing that. But you'll see the speed never really gets above 25 miles per hour. It's not meant to be a fast, intense coaster. And that's the ideology behind this ride specifically and kind of how it works. So you'll see here when this comes out, we have 4.52 with a 5.56, right? with a medium nausea rating. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna come back and we're now gonna increase the length of the train. And you're gonna notice there's some differences here in this ride. Now you gotta be mindful of this as you're creating your coasters, your train length, because train length does increase or decrease your excitement rating and intensity level. So you gotta be mindful of that as you're building out your coaster. Sorry, we've got some pauses again. I don't know why. All right, and there we go. Look at that. So this coaster, it's a little bit faster. And it's hitting those corners really smoothly, right? Now, how many of you have made this type of coaster where, or you've just not made this coaster because you're like, oh my God, I can't figure it out. They keep killing it, killing my peeps and da-da-da. Yeah, don't worry about that, because when you're managing your speed, managing your hill height, you are able to keep the intensity low. You're able to keep it from flying off the tracks, which this coaster will do. You look at our excitement rating here now, 4.73 with an intensity rating of 5.95. So it does get a little bit more intense as the speed increases. Now, the final iteration here, we're going to do it with the full train of 3 cars, which seats 4, 8, 16 people. Sorry, my math was off this morning. Someone turn on the brain. All right, and here we go. So look at that speed. Now, so it's definitely picking up solid speed, but to hit that turn there at only 20 miles per hour, again, it's not a very intense coaster still, right? We're definitely picking up some intensity here, though, as we go down, and we want to be mindful of that as we're building out this coaster. So we reached 30 miles per hour there, and we're hitting that last turn at 27. So you know those lateral G's are definitely higher there at that point. And then we hit into this brake run at 13 mile per hour brake run into a 9 mile per hour brake run. And this gives us some really interesting stats, and I love the way the coaster just goes over the station like that. But yeah, so from a statistical standpoint, we're looking at, let's see here, 4.79 with a 6.10, right? So again, some things to keep in mind as you're building out your coaster. You know, what you want that intensity level to feel like. You want it to be more intense, you want it to be less intense. You know, this is, again, one of those nostalgic type coasters. So it's going to have it's going to have a higher intensity rating with a lower excitement rating, only because of the shallow hills. It's also going to be, you know, you can increase that excitement rating by doing theming, by doing, you know, having it traverse through trees, having it go through like maybe a canyon area. You know, it doesn't have to be this particular setup. The whole premise of this particular video is just to show you how to build this coaster, okay, without it, you know, flying off the tracks and killing your peeps. All right, and here I am just building out this trellis work up on the side and the support work. Again, these coasters really didn't have this type of support work, but for the sake of this video, I wanted to show you what support work does to your excitement rating on some coasters. So as I was looking at this, I was thinking, okay, how do I want to do this, right? So what I like to do is I like to line up these exterior supports with the girders that go horizontally there, just so it has cohesiveness and it looks clean. Again, that's a me thing, that's an OCD thing. So don't, you know, you don't have to do it that way. It's again, it's a me thing. But so I was debating on should I put it there, and I decided not to. And then we've got this turn here where we wanted to put these girders up just to be safe. And it gives a really great look there. I love that. I really wish they had diagonal girders, to be honest with you. And for some reason, I could not get it to line up there. It was driving me nuts. All right, so that brings us, now we're seeing a 4.88 with a 6.10. Again, super simple. I throw out a simple cue on the outside and I save it. Now, why is that so important? Because I may want to use this on, I don't know, Bumbly Beach, you know, or I may want to use it at the pier scenario, which I can't seem to remember the name for some reason right now, and I'm so sorry. But yeah, you guys kind of get the idea of kind of how this coaster is made. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, definitely put them down in the comments below. Feel free to comment away if this is a good series, if this is a bad series, if you learned something from it. I want to know. I want to be there for you. Again, this is for your entertainment. Also, it's to help you, you know, be successful in this game, and that's the whole premise behind it. I've been playing it for 20 years. I know it like the back of my hand. I'm really versed on how to kind of play this game for the most part. There are some coasters I can't figure out, and I'm going to build those coasters and kind of show you my issues with them and what always ends up happening. So maybe you guys can help me out and give me some insight and some help, because Lord knows there's a couple coasters that I just can't figure out. It would be helpful though, since I'm a YouTuber, to watch YouTube videos of other people doing it. That would make some sense. But you guys get the point. All right, so here we are. We're getting to the end of the video here. Guys, I hope you enjoy this new mini-series. Again, it's only going to be for the coasters. I may do a couple of the flats, just to kind of show you how to work those as well. Not the flats, the smaller junior rides. Definitely want to do a ghost train. But yeah, there you are. That is our side friction coaster tutorial. Those are the statistics on the coaster. And thanks so much for joining here at Coaster Monkey Studios. Don't forget to click here to subscribe if you liked the video, and I will catch you guys next time. Thanks so much.